Hey, man, who did you like better, Lennon or McCartney?
Yeah. Hi.
Nice. Welcome to the Dark Tower Hour. I'm Matt Cohen.
I'm Shawn DePasquale.
And we're two idiots who like the Dark Tower.
Yep.
That about sums it up. Thanks. See you next week.
Bye.
What is this show, Shawn?
Not an hour.
It's definitely not an hour.
Nope. We just like the name.
It's evocative, and you know what, guys? Much like Roland's quest for the tower, one day we might get this show to an hour. You never know.
Yeah.
But probably not for a while.
No, it seems like a long time to listen to us talk.
Unless you listen to us on our other things where we talk for a long time.
Yeah.
How do people know us, man?
They don't.
They don't probably.
They probably don't know us.
If they're weird podcast fans, they might know us from the Cabin Boys on HeadGum or my work on Bagged and Boarded.
Yep. Or my work on Bagged and Boarded.
He did.
I did like 7 of them.
He did some. I did like 200 something. So.
I did 7
it's
of
also
those 200
the show I created. So what is Dark? Let's stop fighting.
Okay.
Hey, man. Much like Roland and the Man in Black, let's stop fighting and have a palaver, in which hopefully you die after and I take your jawbone.
Oh,
we're so on topic. What is Dark Tower Hour, dude?
Dark Tower Hour is going to be a weekly show where we're going to discuss all things Dark Tower, and by extension, many things Stephen King, and by extension, movies.
What's a movie?
Comics.
Who?
Yep.
Like Richard Pryor?
Yes, stand-up comedy. No, so we're going to talk about...
Fur Coat Rhonda?
Obviously, there's a Dark Tower movie coming out.
There is.
In a year's
5
time?
years from now. No, there's a movie coming out in probably late 2017, which we think is called Gunslinger. Is it called? No, it's just called The Dark Tower.
I believe it's just called The Dark Tower.
I'm hoping it gets that subtitle Gunslinger because that would imply more movies coming. So here's the deal, gang. Me and Shawn, we're guys. We do stuff, and we see a lot of stuff, and we go like, we could do stuff like that, but what's the stuff that we love to do?
Yeah,
That's the exact conversation we had. We said stuff.
We wanted it
so many times.
We wanted to do like a recap style show about something that we love, and it took us a while to find like the thing that we love that didn't seem to already have two guys talking about it. And Dark Tower was the perfect thing because the movie's coming out now. There's a renewed interest in the series,
and it was also the exact conversation was like, shit, man. Also, we're gonna curse on this fucking show. Are we?
I'm not.
You're gonna
I'm
curse?
gonna try not to curse.
Really?
Yeah, there just doesn't seem to be a need to be.
I might curse sometimes.
All right. I'm gonna say like Stephen King curses.
I was like, Shawn,
caca.
What do I want to talk about for hours on end? Like the minute details of a thing. And I love a lot of things, folks. I love anime. I love professional wrestling. I love most things that already have 1,000 podcasts dedicated to it. And then I looked at all of the tattoos on my arm, and I went, oh yeah. I have a lot of tattoos on my arm. And then I went, we should do a Dark Tower podcast, because I also have a Dark Tower tattoo. Ladies and gentlemen, Dark Tower has always been one of my favorite things. Stephen King has been one of my favorite authors. I've read everything he's ever written, including the really bad like ebooks and stuff. And I think at the age of like 11 or 12, a science teacher named Mr. Dolly, who was also my football coach. Yeah, I played football. Don't I look it? Are you not going to react? We're doing an audio. It's an audio thing, too. We should say, folks, this YouTube show will also become magically, through the magic of...
The internet.
The internet, exactly. Mm-hmm. He loves to say... he was like, let me do the internet part.
Yeah, so that's my favorite part.
It's going to be a podcast, too, so we should also play to the folks who are not seeing us.
No, I like to... I like when I listen to podcasts that are recorded from visual things, and I have to imagine why there's like a gap in the sound. So I'm giving that.
Like, what are you doing, Shawn?
Yeah, what are they up to? I'm giving that to the people.
So my high school teacher got me into Gunslinger first, and at that point, I think Wizard...
That was your first Stephen King book?
No. I'd read like 40 at that point, but I hadn't... Interesting side note, my mom is a huge Stephen King fan, and I inherited recently... She didn't die. Knock on this arcade cabinet, which is not made of wood. Oh no, I'm going to kill my mom. I inherited her entire Stephen King collection. Incidentally, The Dark Tower was not part of it because, which we'll find out on this podcast / web show, we'll just call it a show, a lot of diehard Stephen King fans have not read The Dark Tower for some reason. It's the most inclusive of all his works.
I remember that The Dark Tower was initially sold to me as like, it's not super like a Stephen King book. It's more like a fantasy book. So I feel like if that is something that was, if that's how the book was
Stephen King's
sold,
Lord of the Rings was kind of how this.
Yeah, and maybe that turned. I know that that a lot of people that got into Stephen King got into the horror aspect, and so maybe that turned them off. But it's very much a Stephen King book in a lot of ways.
In the
writing,
of it,
yeah,
more than anything. So anyway, I think I got into the books right as Wizard in the Glass was about to come out, so I got on late, but I'm young, so what was I going to do? I don't have a time-traveling machine, which is what they're called.
I read Gunslinger after reading The Stand, because I had read The Stand, and then I was talking to some friends, and they were like, the bad guy in The Stand is in another Stephen King book.
Questionable.
But at the time, it was like, oh, really? That's cool.
No, I didn't
like
mean questionable if he's in the book. I meant questionable if he's the bad guy.
That there's even a connection was fascinating to me, because that was the first that I had ever realized that Stephen King was building some kind of universe. And so I read Gunslinger and really liked it a lot.
I think I read the first 4 books in like maybe 2 weeks. And then like everyone else.
Yeah, there was that long gap where he didn't write
long gap
anymore.
of like 14 years or something. It's good. It's good to have it all kind of. We thought it was done. I was just about to say it's good to have it finished, but it's not finished because Went Through the Keyhole came out, so there's always chance for more novels. There's the comic books. Now with the movie coming out, it seems like the Tower verse is more alive than it's ever been.
Yes, which actually is an excellent segue.
I'm pretty good at segues.
Into
not at writing them. I fall over on my head. That's why I'm bald.
It's true.
I knocked all my hair off.
He's fallen a lot. But no, that segues perfectly into our news section. I think
we should also...
the place to start, though, is like, this all started, if you remember, you and I...
May I beg pardon for a moment?
All right.
We're going to get right to that news, but we should also say what this show is going to be in the future. We didn't. So we're going to talk about the books.
All right.
Chronologically, we're going to talk about the movies, all the news and rumors and kind of pictures that come out. We're going to try to interview people involved with the movies and the books and Stephen King universe in general. We're going to cover the connections to other King books. We're going to have user-submitted questions. Hopefully, we're going to talk to some fans on Skype and stuff. We want this to be not just about the books, not just about the movies, but just about everything Tower, because it's rich enough of a universe like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings that there should be endless content about it, I feel like.
Regarding the books, too, what we want to try to do is...
See, now you're glad I begged your pardon, sorry.
We want to try to not spoil anything if we can, in giving the audience enough time to sort of read. So
we'll
if you've
you
never
know.
read any Dark Tower books, if you were curious about the movie and that made you look up Dark Tower stuff and you somehow found this, start reading Gunslinger now. We're going to do...
200 pages.
We're going to do a couple episodes of other things, other topics before we start to get into heavy spoilers on Gunslinger, and then we'll fill in other episodes.
And then going forward, we'll give you dates basically when we're starting the next book. So if we're going to start talking about Drawing of the Three in this point in August, we'll let you know now so you have time to kind of read it. And we'll be fair. It's for
some are shorter than others, and there's
one is shorter than others. No, two are shorter than others.
Yeah.
The rest are 9,000 pages long. Yeah. So we're really excited, guys, and
but if you're a Stephen King fan, you're used to that, to length.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't
and
think
girth. Am I right? A yup. He says that a lot.
What show are we doing?
We're doing the Dark Tower Hour, and we're going to discuss the news that happened this week.
And girth.
EW, for those not in the know, Entertainment Weekly's cover this week in confluence. I like that word with Comic-Con. Is Roland and the Man in Black. It's Matthew McConaughey and Idris Elba, and inside there is so much information about this movie.
They also, the website has basically run a 7 or now 8-part feature on, so every day of this week they've put up a different feature on various interviews. They've talked to the director in one. They featured one with just Matthew McConaughey. They featured one with just Idris Elba. They did one that was basically a walkthrough of a scene. It's great. Another one was an interview with Stephen King.
We've learned a lot, and let's talk about what we've learned.
This all started about a year ago? No, maybe less. Maybe
3 months ago. Where Idris Elba tweeted a picture.
It was King.
Was it King?
You're
right. Idris Elba tweeted the "Remember the Face of Your Father" picture on Father's Day.
It was Stephen King tweeted a picture of the horn.
This picture. And what's important about this picture is not only
So many things.
Not only we get to see the Horn of Eld, but it implies what we all know, that this is a sequel to the books, which we're about to hear in real-time quotes. Real-time because, ladies and gentlemen, welcome director of... No, I'm kidding. I said the wrong word. Yeah. Not real-time at all.
No. What makes this really incredible is that before any of these stories had come out, before Entertainment Weekly had done their whole feature, King himself put this image on the internet and really for the first time sort of confirmed that this movie
not
was
even confirmed, put the idea in our head
100% going to move the story forward.
Sure.
And not only that, but it seems based on the image,
this is the last time.
This is the last cycle, which I guess we should sort of... It's so hard to do without...
Not in the first episode, guys. Also, 99.9% of people watching this know exactly what we're talking about, Shawn.
Spoiler warning if you don't. This book is about...
This podcast is a spoiler warning.
This book is about cycles. And as you will learn if you have never read the book before, there are multiple cycles happening within this story. And apparently we have reached the last one, which was then confirmed this week.
Well, here's what happened this week, guys. Entertainment Weekly did their big thing, and I'm cheating and reading it off an iPad, but you know what? I didn't memorize this stuff because I have a day job. I don't have a day job. This is what director Nicolas Arcel said. The hardcore fans of the Dark Tower series will know that this is actually the sequel to the books in a way. It has a lot of the same elements, a lot of the same characters, but it's a different journey. So what we're getting is this. He's got the horn. This is the direct continuation of the cycle we saw in the books. We don't know how many times Roland had already been through his quest to get to that point, but we're assuming it had been many because there are a lot of rooms he passed. We're at the last time that Roland's going to get to the tower, and theoretically it's all going to come down or it's all going to get...
This seems to have heavily divided the fan base from what I've read, which I think is really interesting because I couldn't be... more excited.
I'm super
about
excited,
this concept.
and we'll learn more about how excited we are for the movie as news progresses and the show goes on. But we're both fully on board.
The concept is, I'm saying, I couldn't be more excited for the idea that not only are we getting a sequel to this story, but that it sets it up in a way that anything can be different
and nothing matters. There's nothing to gripe about because it's not the story we know. Because the story we know was only that version of the story in general.
which makes it really exciting.
And speaking to that, Nicolas also said about Eddie and Susanna not being in this movie, which he's confirmed. They're certainly out there. I think the entire story deserves to be told and should be told. I would certainly be disappointed in myself or my collaborators if we didn't bring them in. They're such a huge part of the story. So they're out there, meaning they're not in Midworld.
Meaning they exist. Meaning that
if this movie gets a sequel, we might get to see them.
And what's nice to know is that the people that are in charge of the film are fans first.
Here's what I'm
and understand that these characters are all existing in this world.
Sure.
And that they're writing to the idea that these characters are out there somewhere, which means that we will get nods to things that exist in the universe that don't necessarily make an appearance.
I'm really disappointed in this news.
Why?
He didn't mention Oi at all. We're going to talk about this too, folks. I'm a big Oi fan. Shawn isn't as much.
Well, I think that just...
I'm kidding.
From the quote alone,
sure.
I think the fact that Oi
they're
isn't
all
mentioned,
they're
all
out
out there.
I
think Susanna and Eddie are way more important.
I was trying to make a comedy joke for the people.
They don't want that.
They might.
They don't want
that.
Write
it in the comments if you want that.
Yeah.
Also, if you're an Oi fan like myself, write in that I'm right. If you've said on multiple times that he is not part of the quartet and not an integral member of the entire series, talk to Shawn over here.
He is the Ewok of Midworld.
And I think we just found out who the good guy of this show will be. I'm going to digitalize a little crown over my head. And I'm going to put a Crimson King symbol over yours.
Give me devil ears. Listen.
Who doesn't like a Billy Bumbler? Let's move on. And the other thing we got
a bunch of pictures.
Like these.
We got images inside the Dixie Pig.
We got breakers and
there are also official images released of Roland and of the Man in Black. And
let it sit for a little bit, man. Let them fucking take it all in.
Yeah, juice it up.
I'm going to put them back on because they're so sexy.
Put them back on.
Look at these two guys.
Look at them.
Yeah.
Can you make them kiss?
Yeah.
All right.
And I can make them kiss inside the Dixie Pig.
Okay.
There you go. And that's the amount of work I want to do on this podcast.
Awesome.
Folks. So we're getting there, guys. And look, here's the great thing. It's all happening very soon. Like, they already wrapped filming principal photography. I'm pretty damn positive that they all have wrapped. Like, they did the South Africa portion. They did the New York portion. I think there's going to be big stuff at Comic-Con, which is a week from now. So either next episode or the week episode after that, we'll probably have huge movie news.
Yeah.
And we'll start slowly working our way towards Gunslinger. Also, if you guys haven't read, those McConaughey interviews and Idris interviews are awesome.
We will link in the YouTube comment.
In the about
in the description.
Section. Down here.
On the bottom.
I forgot we're here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So down below us.
People on the podcast.
That's right.
Disregard
this. But yeah, we will link all of the stories that we talked about today, and going forward, anytime we do that, we'll link, and we can link to Stephen King's original
But the gist
tweet.
is, both Elba and McConaughey both sound like fans. McConaughey specifically, like, they get what's going on, and that man might be Randall Flagg.
We will. In fact, we might get into that. We might have enough of his quotes alone
to do an entire episode.
Do a whole episode next week about and how much this guy seems to understand who Randall Flagg is.
And how, if this goes well, it might lead to Matthew McConaughey playing Flagg in The Stand, which is very much what it sounds like. Who knows, guys?
Time will tell.
I guess we'll find out on the next Dark Tower Hours. Tweet us at Dark Tower Hour. Leave comments if you like this show.
Yeah.
Give us suggestions for further episodes. If you have other friends who are Tower fans, let them know that we exist now.
Yeah, things you want to hear us talk about, or like
Tower
topics
related, not like Stranger Things, which I liked a lot. But
love Stranger Things, which was very Stephen King in its own way.
Almost Towery, to be fair. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it.
All right, I'm Shawn DiPasquale.
I'm Matt Cohen. Nice to meet you. I wasn't done yet, man.
Goodbye.
Thank you guys so much for checking us out. We are first and foremost Tower fans, and we're second and foremost just stoner idiots who like to talk about stuff. He's back. And please join us next time. I'm Matt Cohen.
I'm a Billy Bumbler.
Long days and pleasant nights.